amwoodland.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Boy, I would love one of the fungible CNN news reading mouth breathers to ask this question tonight. Maybe Chris Cuomo could get through it. I don't think Don Lemon could without breaking up. Maureen Dowd over the weekend, New York Times. Maureen Dowd. Ready for this?
Yeah.
She's sort of getting sick of the cultural Marxists.
Really?
Let me tell you something, Democrat Socialists. If you lost Maureen Dowd in 2020 against Trump, you're in some trouble. She talks about getting taken to task over having had a little book party at her place with some politicians that were there, and eating chocolates during an interview with Nancy Pelosi, and mentioning that she had some good pumps on. She writes, does Dowd, I, the daughter of a D.C. cop, and Carl, the son of an Illinois plumber, book party for her friend Carl Hulse is who she's talking about, were hilariously painted as decadent aristocrats reveling like Marie Antoinette when we should have been knitting like Madame Defarge. Boy, Tale of Two Cities reference. That's better than I would expect from Maureen Dowd. Yo, proletariat. If the Democrat Party is going to be against chocolate, high heels, parties, and fun, you've lost me. And I've got some bad news for you about 2020. The progressives are the modern Puritans. The Massachusetts Bay Colony is alive and well in the Potomac, and Twitter. They eviscerate their natural allies for not being pure enough, while placing all their hopes in a color inside the lines lifelong Republican prosecutor appointed by Ronald Reagan. The politics of purism makes people stupid and nasty. Maureen Dowd chastising the Democrat socialist minders. Ooh. What would you say about that, panel? Raise your hand. That could be a raise your hand question for the 10 tonight and tomorrow. Do you agree with Maureen Dowd or not?
Moderators just for tonight and tomorrow night, Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, and Don Lemon.
So expect a lot of crying.
Anderson Cooper's not happy.
For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. Michael, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys.
How about that? Maureen Dowd is sick of being chastised from inside the perimeter.
Yeah. Maureen is an old friend of mine from our days at the Times together, and I ran into her recently. And there's no question that if you run afoul of the new thought police, you will be denounced, no matter your history, no matter other things you've said or done in your life. They freeze a moment, and you are that moment. You become that person eternally for them. So I think that to take a leap here, that's how the left can justify tearing down statues, painting over George Washington murals, because they refuse to see the whole. They only see the part that drives them crazy, and that gives them license to basically, you shut up, you don't have any standing anymore because I have decided, and I have veto power over your life. I mean, that's the new left, and it is terrifying. It's humorous the way Maureen skewers them, but the reality is if they come banging on your door, or if Antifa wants to beat you up because they don't like your politics or just because they think they should run everything, it's not funny, and it becomes quite a serious menace in our society.
What do you think tonight's main focus? I mean, I know they're going to talk about immigration, but do you think they're going to start with Trump's tweets and his, spat between him and Al Sharpton and impeachment?
Oh, I think it'll be he's a racist times a million. I think that is all they will talk about. And, of course, nobody will talk about the lowest historic Black and Latino unemployment rates. The number of people none of that will be brought up, or if it is, it's only about those who aren't getting jobs. But they will ignore the facts. They will ignore the overarching facts to go on this. I mean, Russia, Russia, Russia is now racist, racist, racist. They just segued from one villainous claim to another, again, with no real facts. I mean, it's just an opinion, and it's just done for partisan purposes. So I think the test will be for all of these Democrats, can anyone break through with a view of the future that is not just a demonization of Donald Trump? Is there anybody who can have an inspiring view of a future America that does not rely on hating the current president and his policies? Because I think if you go down that road, as they are doing, there's no end. There's nothing there. It doesn't give you anything to hold on to. If you're an ordinary American, if you are most concerned with your immediate quality of life, your family's prospects, that sort of ordinary thing, then they give you nothing to hang on to. Hating Donald Trump is not a plan for the future.
Yeah, that's essentially the argument that Nick Kristof was making in the New York Times the other week, and of course, none of his fellow travelers listen, and they don't seem inclined to listen now. But it would seem to me the person that would be most compelled to do what you're suggesting, to take your advice, would be Joe Biden, because he's not going to win trying to pantomime the most radical socialists on the stage. He's going to win or keep the barbarians at bay by not going back to saying I'm a moderate Democrat, not flip-flopping on a bunch of issues like he's flip-flopping around, but by charting a course for the future, what it means to be a Democrat, Democrat leadership would look like and mean for the country, because nobody else is interested in that. They're just interested in the competition to give away freebies.
I think in theory you're right, Dan, but I'm not sure. Two points about that. Two reservations I have. First, I'm not sure Joe Biden is that inspiring person. I
agree.
I remain unconvinced that he will be the nominee, because I think he's not just he's over the hill. I think he never got to the hill. He was never, in my mind, a national Democrat. He was a Senate windbag, and his whole life was there. I mean, imagine, he was in the Senate from the age of 29. Wow. That's all he did until Obama made him vice president. So he's been in Washington his whole life. This idea that he's a man of the people, the middle class, that's a creation of consultants. That's not the reality of who Joe Biden is or how he has lived.
Yeah, but I want him to be the nominee. I want him to be the nominee, though. We got to help try and get him across the finish line, Michael.
I don't think he has the staying power. But my second reservation is, even if Joe Biden were that person and could make those points, I don't know if there's an audience for that in the Democratic Party these days. If there is, it's a silent majority within the party, because right now the party is clearly dominated by the angry, the hateful, the spiteful, the socialist-leaning, the racist kind of politicking. I don't know where the soul of the Democratic Party is. I don't know that it has a coherent, moderate center anymore. I might be wrong, but I don't see it raising its hand so far.
No, I agree, because they haven't wrapped their, what I keep hearing all the time is, well, Trump's going to lose. And well, what are you doing about it? What candidate are you supporting? And nobody likes any of the candidates. I mean, that's, but all right, so there's 10 candidates tonight, 10 more tomorrow. When is this, like the riffraff, the barely hanger-oners going to be gone? When are we going to see people really start dropping out of this race?
Well, I was surprised. There are 20 in the debates tonight and tomorrow night. Yeah. And there are 5 who didn't even make the debate. So there's still 25 of them out there. Tom Steyer, for example, being one who didn't make the debates. And, they're going to continue to raise the threshold of what you have to do to get there. So I would think that by sometime in the fall, because don't forget, once you get into the fall, then you're just 3 to 4 months from Iowa. And so you would think that the party would want to shrink the field down to the real true possible nominees, of which at this point I would say there are probably four: Sanders, Warren, Biden, and Harris. Looks to me like those are the four who are viable nationally as well as in the early states. In fact, it kind of lined up every way. In Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, it was Biden, Sanders, Warren, Harris, in that order in all three states. So that seems to me to be your field at this point anyway. And sooner or later, you're going to want, if you're a Democratic leader, you're going to want the public you're going to want to showcase those four. You're going to want to surround them with a party that is committed to backing the nominee. So you're going to want to do away with a lot of this also-rans and the pretenders to get them out of the way so that you can create more of an adoration for your nominee. So they're going to have to do that pretty quickly. We're now at the end of July, and I would think that by the middle of September, they're going to want to see a very, maybe down to 6 at that point. But I don't know exactly what process they have in mind, because people are able to stick around with a little bit of money. You can keep showing up.
He is Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. His latest piece also on Mueller's testimony that ended any Trump impeachment talks, as we talked about last week. Michael, thanks so